Listen, there's a moment in your life when everything goes quiet, not because the world stopped talking, but because your heart finally got tired of waiting for you to show up. And deep inside, a small voice whispers, you can do this, but you ignore it, don't you? You doubt it. You silence it. You bury it under fear excuses. And every reason you've convinced yourself you're not enough. But hear me now, that voice is not weak. That voice is not random. That voice is you trying to rise. You've been walking around carrying the weight of what people said about you, the scars of what life did to you, and the fear of what might happen if you actually tried. But let me tell you something that might shake your soul. The only thing standing between the person you are and the person you're supposed to become is the belief that you can do it. Belief is not magic. It's not luck. It's not some fluffy motivational phrase. Belief is a decision, a choice, a declaration that says, I refuse to let my past have the final word. I refuse to let fear write my story. I refuse to live small, quiet, or invisible. You want to know what separates winners from quitters? It's not talent. It's not money. It's not connections. It's belief. People with belief walk into storms other people run from. People with belief keep moving when everyone else gives up. People with belief understand something powerful. Your faith must become louder than your fear. You've doubted yourself long enough. You've paused your life long enough. You've let fear negotiate with your destiny long enough. It's time to stand up. Time to breathe again. Time to listen to the voice inside you that's been waiting for you to wake up. You are stronger than the pain you survived. You are bigger than the mistakes you made. You are designed for a future that fear cannot enter. So today, right now, not tomorrow, not when I feel ready, right now, choose to believe, choose to rise, choose to fight, choose to say out loud, I can do ties, because the moment you believe it, everything in your life begins to shift. Doors open, strength shows up, clarity appears, and the world finally sees what you were always meant to become. Believe you can do this, because you can, and deep down, you've always known it. Your belief is the foundation of every breakthrough in your life. The voice inside you is louder when you stop letting fear speak for you. Strength doesn't appear before the journey. It appears during it. Your past can guide you, but it cannot define you unless you allow it. Every challenge you face is proof that you're built for more. Self-belief is a daily decision, not a moment of luck. Excuses delay your destiny. Action activates it. Fear is loud, but your purpose is louder if you let it speak. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to believe. Our belief is the foundation of every breakthrough in your life. And I need you to really feel the weight of that, because too many people walk around thinking their circumstances are the deciding factor, or their past is the deciding factor, or what somebody once told them is the deciding factor. They don't realize the real gatekeeper is their own belief. Every opportunity you're waiting for, every level you want to reach, every dream you're secretly scared to say out loud, none of that becomes real until belief becomes the engine behind your actions. And the crazy part is, belief isn't something you're born with in full. It's something you learn to build, brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice. When I speak about belief, I'm not talking about blind optimism. I'm talking about the moment when you finally make the decision to stop letting fear be louder than your purpose. Because the truth is, some of you already have the strength, the talent, the potential, the hunger, but the missing piece has always been your belief. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas, brand new tires, a perfect engine, and you refuse to turn the key because you're convinced the road won't lead anywhere. But belief is that ignition. Belief is what starts the journey. And I know why you struggle with it. I know why it feels easier to doubt yourself. It's because you've spent years replaying every mistake, every failure, every disappointment. You've trained your mind to assume the worst. You've rehearsed your insecurities so much that they've become familiar, and anything familiar feels safe. Even pain can feel safe if you've known it long enough. But belief requires you to step into unfamiliar territory. It asks you to trust a version of yourself you haven't met yet. It asks you to rise to a level you've never seen, and that's terrifying. But it's also where the beauty begins. Belief is built in the small moments, the quiet decisions, the inner conversations nobody hears. It's built every time you choose to try again, when quitting whispers your name. It's built every time you silence the voice that says, you're not enough, and replace it with, watch me. It's built when you stop waiting for someone to validate your worth and instead validate it yourself. People don't tell you this, but belief grows in the dark long before anyone else can see the results. And when it finally blooms, it shows up in everything you do. Some of you think belief is supposed to appear only after you've succeeded. You think you need proof first. But that's not how it works. You don't believe because you have success. You gain success because you believe. You take the step before you see the staircase. You make the move before you know how it ends. You bet on yourself when nobody else is paying attention. That's the difference between people who rise and people who remain the same. It's not luck. It's not fate. It's not chance. It's the courage to believe before the evidence shows up. You've been waiting for a sign, but maybe the sign is that you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still wanting. You're still dreaming. That desire you feel isn't random. It's proof you're capable. And the thing about belief is this: the moment you choose it, even just a little, the world begins to shift. You start to walk differently. You start to talk differently. You start to treat yourself differently. People around you notice it before you do. They see you standing taller. They see you moving with intention. They see you carrying a fire you didn't have before. That's what belief does. It transforms you from the inside out. And let me be real with you. There will always be people who doubt you. There will always be voices that try to shrink your vision. There will always be moments when life hits you so hard you question everything. But belief doesn't mean you won't feel doubt. It means you won't surrender to it. It means you choose to push anyway. It means you build a mindset that refuses to break under pressure. When you truly believe, you don't run from obstacles, you rise through them. You don't shrink in the face of fear, you confront it. You don't fall apart when life gets heavy, you strengthen your grip. Every breakthrough you've ever imagined sits behind one decision: the decision to believe you can. And the moment you decide to believe, even without knowing how, even without knowing when, even without knowing what it's going to cost, that's the moment everything begins to change. Because belief is the beginning of becoming. And once you truly believe, nothing in this world can stop you. And it all starts the moment you decide that you can. Does your belief becomes unstoppable the moment the voice inside you becomes louder than the noise around you. And that's where most people lose themselves. They spend their whole lives listening to voices that were never meant to guide them. The voice of fear, the voice of insecurity, the voice of people who stopped believing in themselves years ago, the voice of failure whispering reminders of every time things didn't go right. And the saddest part is, over time, they start mistaking those voices as their own. They start thinking doubt is their natural language. They start thinking strength is for other people. They forget they were born with a voice that was never meant to be small, never meant to be silent, never meant to be drowned out by the noise of the world. I want you to understand something. That inner voice, the one you ignore because you've convinced yourself it can't be trusted, that voice is the most honest part of you. That voice is the part of you that knows your potential when your mind is clouded with fear. It's the part that remembers who you were before life tried to teach you who you weren't. It's the part that whispers the truth when everything around you screams lies. But too many people don't give it a chance to be heard. They shut it down the moment it tries to rise. They push it away because it's unfamiliar. They bury it because it doesn't match the story they've been telling themselves. And that's where the battle begins. Between the loudness of fear and the quiet strength of your inner voice. Fear shouts, it exaggerates, it tells you everything that could go wrong, every risk, every flaw, every reason you should stay where it's safe. But your inner voice, your true voice, speaks softly. It doesn't force itself. It doesn't beg, it simply invites. It says, there's more in you. It says, you're not done yet. It says, keep going. You're closer than you think. But you have to choose which voice you're going to build your life around. You see, the world has a way of shaping you into something smaller than you were meant to be. People who quit too early will try to convince you to settle for less. People who never healed from their wounds will try to hand their fears to you like it's advice. People who couldn't handle their own potential will tell you yours is unrealistic. And before you know it, the noise becomes familiar. It becomes your background music. It becomes the narrative you live inside. That's why you must learn to turn down their volume and turn up your own. And let me tell you something. Your inner voice doesn't grow louder because life gets easier. It grows louder because you choose to stop running from it. You choose to amplify it. You choose to trust it. You choose to honor the part of you that wants to rise instead of the part that wants to hide. Belief doesn't come from outside approval. It comes from inner alignment. It comes from the moment you stop asking the world for permission and give yourself the permission you've been waiting on. Some of you haven't heard your inner voice in years because you haven't given yourself one quiet moment. You drown yourself in distractions, in noise, in people, in conversations that drain you. But your inner voice doesn't shout over chaos. It speaks when your soul finally becomes still enough to hear it. And when you do hear it, something inside you shifts. You begin to notice how often you've underestimated yourself. You begin to see how often you let fear make your decisions. You begin to realize how long you've been living below your potential. And sometimes that realization hurts. But it also frees you. Your inner voice is not weak, it's wise. It's not fragile, it's fierce. It's not small, you just stopped listening. But once you turn the volume back up, once you let it guide your steps, everything in your life begins to change. You stop chasing validation. You stop shrinking yourself to fit places you've outgrown. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You start walking with a different energy, a different confidence, a different level of intentionality. People will look at you and wonder what happened, what changed, what shifted. But the truth is, nothing changed outside of you. You just finally remembered who you are. And once that voice becomes louder than fear, louder than doubt, louder than negativity, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for someone to tell you you're capable. You stop asking permission to rise. You stop letting insecurity lead your life. You become the version of yourself you were always meant to be, the version fear tried so hard to silence. Because the moment your inner voice becomes louder than your fears, your life begins to transform. Strength doesn't show up before the journey begins. It reveals itself along the way. And this is where so many people misunderstand their own potential. They keep waiting to feel strong before they move, waiting to feel confident before they take the first step, waiting to feel ready before they face the things that scare them. But it doesn't work like that. Strength isn't the prerequisite. Strength is the result. Strength is the echo of every step you take when doubt tells you to stand still. It's the byproduct of every decision you make when fear tries to negotiate with your future. It's the reward for choosing movement when your mind begs for comfort. People look at someone who's strong and assume they were always that way. They see the confidence, the discipline, the resilience, and they convince themselves it must have come naturally. But what they don't see are the moments that built that strength. They don't see the nights someone cried themselves to sleep wondering if they could keep going. They don't see the mornings when someone had to drag themselves out of bed because quitting felt easier. They don't see the times they failed, got embarrassed, fell apart, and kept trying anyway. Strength is built in the dark, in the lonely places, in the moments where nobody is clapping for you, nobody is cheering for you, and nobody is watching to hold you accountable. That's where real strength is born. You can't think your way into strength. You can't wish your way into courage. You can't pray your way into resilience without also being willing to walk through the moments that require it. If you want strength, you have to put yourself in situations where strength becomes necessary. And yes, those situations are uncomfortable. They test you. They stretch you. They push you into parts of yourself you've been avoiding for years. But that's the point. There is no growth in comfort. There is no power without pressure. There is no transformation without tension. Think about a person lifting weights. The strength doesn't come from looking at the weight. It doesn't come from believing they can lift it. It doesn't come from talking about lifting it. It comes from actually picking it up, struggling through the reps, failing, trying again, and repeating that process until one day what used to feel heavy now feels possible. That's your life. Every challenge you face is a weight. Every setback is resistance. Every disappointment is another rep. And the more you lift, the stronger you become. Not because the weight gets lighter, but because you get stronger. Some people avoid challenges because they think it means they're weak. But the truth is, the challenge is the very thing designed to build the strength they're asking for. You become confident by doing things that test your confidence. You become courageous by facing things that scare you. You become resilient by surviving moments you thought would break you. You grow by walking straight into the storms you once ran from. And every time you push through something you didn't think you could, you collect a new piece of strength you didn't have before. The reason so many people feel weak is because they've convinced themselves that struggle is a sign they're failing. But struggle isn't a sign you're failing, it's a sign you're growing. It's a sign you're moving. It's a sign you're stepping into a version of yourself that demands more from you. If everything is easy, you're not evolving. If nothing is challenging you, nothing is changing you. Strength is built when you stop looking for the easy path and start trusting that you can handle the difficult one. There will be moments when you feel overwhelmed. There will be moments when you feel like you're moving backward. There will be moments when you wonder why life seems to be testing you so hard. But I want you to understand something. You're not being tested to break you. Life is exposing your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. Life is showing you your fears so you can overcome them. Life is placing pressure on you because pressure is the birthplace of power. And one day, you're going to look back at the very battles you thought would destroy you and realize those were the moments that shaped you. Those were the moments that gave you the strength you carry now. Those were the moments that taught you what you're truly capable of. Because strength doesn't arrive before the journey. It rises within you along the way. And every step you take forward is proof that strength is already growing inside you. Your past can guide you, but it cannot define you unless you decide to keep living in it. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They keep treating their past like it's the architect of their future, instead of seeing it for what it actually is: a lesson, a reference point, a teacher. Not a prison, not a label, not a sentence. Just a chapter that gave you information. But somewhere along the way, you started confusing the chapter with the whole book. You started believing that what happened to you has the authority to determine what can happen for you. And that's not the truth. The truth is this: your past shaped you, but it doesn't get to limit you unless you hand it the power to. What you've been through may explain why you think the way you think, why you react the way you react, why certain fears live inside you. But it does not get the final say in who you become from this moment forward. The past teaches you patterns, but you get to choose whether you repeat them. The past shows you pain, but you get to choose whether you carry it. The past reveals what broke you, but you get to choose whether you continue breaking yourself with the memory of it. Too many people take their mistakes and turn them into identity. They take their failures and turn them into limitations. They take what someone said once, maybe when they were hurt, maybe when they were angry, maybe when they didn't even know what they were talking about, and then they let that voice echo in their head for years. And then they wonder why believing in themselves feels impossible. It's because they're still living in the shadow of an old version of themselves. They're still dragging a version of their story that should have been released a long time ago. The past is supposed to inform you, not imprison you. It's supposed to give you clarity, not chains. It's supposed to help you grow, not shrink. And if you want to rise into the person you're meant to be, you've got to stop letting your past be the loudest voice in your life. Every time you hear that thought telling you you're not good enough, stop and ask yourself, is that present reality, or is that an old one speaking? Every time you hear, you'll fail again, ask yourself, is that a fact, or is that the memory of a moment that no longer defines you? Every time you tell yourself, I can't, ask yourself, is that the truth, or is that fear wearing the disguise of experience? People think healing means forgetting, but that's not what healing is. Healing means remembering differently. Healing means looking back and realizing you survived something that could have destroyed you. Healing means understanding that what hurt you also strengthened you in ways you didn't recognize at the time. Healing means you stop letting your past trauma dictate your future choices. You stop letting your past relationships dictate your worth. You stop letting your past failures dictate your ceiling. There's a version of you who lived through things you didn't think you could handle, and you're still here. That alone proves your past doesn't own you. If your past had the power to define you, you wouldn't have made it this far. You wouldn't still be fighting. You wouldn't still be searching for change. You wouldn't still be trying to grow. The fact that you're still here means your past is not your master. It's just your story, and stories can be rewritten the moment you choose a different ending. And yes, there will be days where the past feels heavy, days where memories hit you harder than expected, days where old fears resurface, but that's not failure, that's part of growth. Healing isn't linear, self-belief isn't linear, becoming isn't linear. You're going to revisit old wounds so you can finally close them. You're going to confront old versions of yourself so you can step into new ones. You're going to face the parts of your story you've been avoiding so you can reclaim the power you lost inside them. And when you finally stop letting your past define your identity, you begin to see it for what it truly is, the proof that you're stronger than you knew. Every scar becomes evidence not of your weakness, but of your endurance. Every mistake becomes a lesson, not a label. Every failure becomes direction, not defeat. And once you understand that, once you stop letting your history dictate your destiny, you unlock a future you never thought was possible. Because your past can guide you, but only you can decide who you become next. Every challenge you face is proof that you're built for more, even though at the moment it rarely feels that way. When life hits hard, the first instinct is to pull back, to question yourself, to wonder why everything suddenly feels heavier than you expected. But those challenges aren't there to punish you. They're there to reveal you. They're there to introduce you to a version of yourself you never would have met if everything stayed easy. And I know, nobody enjoys struggle. Nobody asks for pressure. Nobody wakes up excited to face the things that break them open. But sometimes the only way to discover your strength is to first come face to face with your limits. You see, challenges expose what's been hiding inside you. Not the weakness you fear, but the power you've ignored. The problem isn't that you're incapable. The problem is that you've never been pushed far enough to see just how capable you really are. You've never been stretched to the point where you had no choice but to grow. And when life puts you in a position where you feel like you're being crushed, it's usually because something inside you is expanding. Expansion feels like pressure before it feels like progress. Most people don't realize their potential because they avoid the very situations that would unlock it. They run from discomfort. They pray for easier paths. They hope for smoother days. But easy paths don't create strong people. Smooth days don't build character. Comfort doesn't reveal capacity. You don't learn who you are when everything is going right. You learn who you are when everything is going wrong, and you keep showing up anyway. That's the moment you see your true reflection. And let's be honest, some of your greatest breakthroughs came after moments you thought you'd never recover from. Think about the things you survived that you once believed would break you. Think about the people you lost, the opportunities that slipped through your hands, the doors that slammed right in your face. You thought those moments were the end of you, but all they did was carve out more room for strength. Pain doesn't just hurt, pain shapes, it sharpens, it develops, it awakens something inside you that comfort would never touch. Challenges don't show up in your life randomly. They show up with intention. They highlight what needs to change. They reveal where you've been settling. They expose where you've been playing small. When life gets uncomfortable, it's often because you've outgrown the level you were stuck on. The challenge isn't blocking you, It's pushing you forward. It's redirecting you toward the version of yourself that's been waiting on you to step up. Some of you have been praying for strength, but when the weight shows up, you think you're being punished. You don't realize the weight is the answer. Strength isn't handed to you. It's built through resistance. Every setback is a weight. Every heartbreak is a weight. Every disappointment is a weight. And every time you lift it, you become stronger. You don't see it right away, but over time, you look back and realize the things that used to break you don't even shake you anymore. That's growth. That's transformation. That's proof you've evolved. And I get it. Challenges are exhausting. They drain you. They shake your confidence. They make you question your path. But they also force you to dig deeper. They make you discover layers of yourself you didn't know existed. They make you ask better questions, make better decisions, and build better habits. A challenge will teach you discipline. It will teach you resilience. It will teach you patience. It will teach you faith. It will teach you to trust your inner voice over the chaos around you. People who become unstoppable aren't the ones who had the easiest life. They're the ones who refuse to let their challenges define them. They didn't back down when things got messy. They didn't give up when life felt unfair. They didn't let defeat become identity. They looked at every challenge as a message, as you're ready for more. And they stepped into it, even when it hurt, even when they were scared, even when they didn't know what the outcome would be. And that's what you need to understand right now. Your challenges are not signs of your weakness. They are signs of your potential. They are indicators of growth. They are proof that life sees something in you that you haven't fully recognized yet. Every challenge you face is preparing you, stretching you, strengthening you for the level you've been praying to reach. Because every challenge is simply life's way of saying you're built for more. Self-belief is a daily decision, not a moment of luck. And that's something most people never learn because they think belief is supposed to just appear one day. Like a lightning strike, like a burst of inspiration, like some magical feeling that suddenly makes everything clear. But belief doesn't work that way. Belief isn't an accident. Belief isn't a mood. Belief isn't a feeling you wait for. Belief is a choice you make over and over again, especially on the days when you don't feel strong, when you don't feel confident, when you don't feel capable. Those days matter more than the days when everything feels easy. Every morning you wake up, you're given the chance to choose who you're going to be, not who you were yesterday, not who your past says you are, not who people think you are, but who you decide to become today. And a lot of people don't realize how powerful that is. They think they're stuck because they don't feel ready. They think they're stuck because doubt still shows up. They think they're stuck because fear hasn't gone away. But belief isn't the absence of fear. Belief is choosing to move even while fear is standing right next to you. There will be mornings when doubt wakes up before you do, whispering all the reasons you shouldn't try. There will be nights when your thoughts spiral into every insecurity you've ever felt. There will be moments when life hits so hard that belief feels out of reach. But that's exactly when belief matters the most. That's the part of the journey where you decide whether your emotions control you or your intentions guide you. People misunderstand belief because they think it's supposed to feel permanent, unshakable, rock solid every second of the day. They think if they have a moment of weakness, the belief disappears. But belief is like a muscle. It grows through repetition. You build it by showing up for yourself again and again. You build it by refusing to surrender to the narrative of your fears. You build it by taking small steps that reinforce the larger truth. You are capable. Self-belief doesn't arrive fully formed. It develops piece by piece. It strengthens every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you push through discomfort. Every time you make a decision that aligns with the future you want instead of the fear you're running from. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, growth over stagnation, courage over comfort, you are reinforcing belief in yourself. Some people keep waiting for confidence to show up before they take action, but that's backwards. Confidence is born from action, and belief is built through consistency. You need to understand that believing in yourself once isn't enough. Believing in yourself only when life feels good isn't enough. Believing in yourself only when others support you isn't enough. The kind of belief that transforms your life is the kind you renew every day. Because you understand that your mindset needs maintenance just like your body, just like your goals, just like your dreams. There will be days you lose momentum, days you fall short, days you don't show up the way you hoped, and that's okay. That's part of being human. What matters is that you don't let one bad day turn into a bad mindset. You don't let one mistake turn into a complete collapse of your confidence. You don't let one doubt-filled moment erase all the progress you've made. Self-belief gives you room to fail without abandoning yourself. You become powerful the moment you understand that belief isn't something you wait to feel, it's something you commit to regardless of how you feel. Your feelings can shift with weather. Your feelings can change with one conversation. Your feelings can rise and fall without warning. But your belief, your choice to trust yourself can remain steady if you choose to re-anchor it every single day. And yes, it takes work. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it takes courage. Believing in yourself requires rewiring your mind, challenging your inner dialogue, breaking old habits, and confronting the parts of you that still cling to fear. But there is nothing more powerful than a person who wakes up each day and says, even if I don't feel it today, I am choosing to believe in who I can become. Because when you choose self-belief daily, no matter the doubt, no matter the fear, you create a version of yourself that nothing and no one can shake. And that version of you is waiting for you to choose belief again today. There comes a moment in your life where you have to stop letting the world hand you an identity and start claiming your own. Too many people walk around acting like they're extras in a movie where they should have been the lead all along. And the reason they do that is simple. They keep waiting for validation. Validation from people who don't see their vision. Validation from people who can't understand their hunger. Validation from people who haven't lived a single second of their struggle. And then they wonder why they feel small. They wonder why they question themselves. They wonder why they feel like they're never enough. But here's the truth that changes everything. You'll become unstoppable the moment you decide that your belief in yourself is stronger than anyone's doubt. Because doubt will always be loud. Doubt will always show up first. Doubt will always come dressed like truth. But your belief, is the only voice that actually knows your future before it happens. That belief knows what you're capable of before you've even proven it. That belief sees the version of you that you're still growing into. And that belief will carry you when nothing else can. There are going to be seasons in your life when you have no applause, no cheerleaders, no one checking on you, no one hyping you up. There will be seasons where you wake up and question whether you should even keep going. You'll feel tired. You'll feel drained. You'll feel like you're running in circles. But in those moments, the real battle isn't against the world, it's against your own mind. And if you don't build the discipline to speak life over yourself when everything around you feels lifeless, you will hand your future to frustration. Let me tell you something powerful. Some people will underestimate you because it makes them feel safe. Some people will doubt you because believing in you would force them to confront what they're not doing in their own lives. And some people will try to shrink you because they're terrified of what happens when you finally realize your potential. And if you let any of that get inside your head, you'll start dimming your own light long before the world ever gets the chance. But when you stand in front of the mirror, just you and your own reflection, that's the moment of decision. That's when you ask yourself, do I believe in me? Even when no one else does, even when nothing seems to be working, even when everything is slow, hard, heavy, and uncertain, because your answer to that question determines everything that happens next. It determines how you walk, how you think, how you fight, how you rise, and how you rebuild. You can't afford to live your life borrowing confidence from other people. You can't afford to attach your worth to approval. You can't afford to let hesitation talk you out of the places you're meant to reach. Your belief has to become your foundation, not something that changes based on mood, circumstances, or opinions, but something anchored, something unshakable. When you believe in yourself deeply, you start moving differently. You stop negotiating your limits. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You stop asking for permission to grow. You start waking up with a new fire, even if the progress is slow. You start speaking differently, showing up differently, thinking differently. Your decisions become sharper. Your goals become clearer. Your commitment becomes stronger. Life doesn't get easier, but you get stronger because your belief shifts your identity from I hope I can to I know I can. And once that shift happens, every challenge becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a teacher. Every delay becomes preparation. Every failure becomes refinement. You stop crumbling under pressure and start performing under pressure. You stop running from responsibility and start owning your destiny. You stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. And maybe the most important part, you stop fearing your own greatness. Some people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're afraid of what happens if they actually succeed. They're afraid of how big their life might become. They're afraid of how far they could rise. But when you truly believe in yourself, that fear disappears. You stop running from your potential and start rising into it. Because at the end of the day, belief is not just a mindset, it's a decision. A decision you have to make every morning. A decision you have to protect. A decision you have to defend when life tries to break it. And once you decide that you are worthy, capable, prepared, and powerful, nothing can stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. When you believe in you, the world eventually has no choice but to believe too. That's the moment everything changes. There's a moment in your journey where you have to face a powerful truth. The version of you that got you this far is not the version of you that will take you the rest of the way. And that realization hits hard because it forces you to confront the habits, the patterns, the excuses, and the comfort zones you've carried like a safety blanket for years. It forces you to admit that growth requires sacrifice, real sacrifice, the kind that feels uncomfortable. The kind that challenges everything you've been used to. The kind that asks you to let go, even when you still feel attached. But if you truly want to step into the life you keep imagining, You have to be willing to evolve into the person capable of living it. People love the idea of growth. It sounds inspiring. It sounds empowering. They love talking about it, posting about it, dreaming about it. But growth isn't pretty. Growth isn't convenient. Growth isn't soft or easy. Growth is a process of breaking, reshaping, rebuilding, and relearning. Growth demands that you stop playing small. It demands that you stop repeating cycles that no longer serve you. It demands that you stop pretending you can keep your old life and still earn your new one. Life doesn't work like that. You can't step into your future while still clinging to what's comfortable. There will be days when you don't recognize who you used to be. And that's the point. That's the sign that you're evolving. That's the sign that old fears are losing their grip. That's the sign that old insecurities are starting to fade. Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like choosing discipline when your mind is begging for distraction. Sometimes it looks like saying no to habits you survived on for years. Sometimes it looks like walking away from people who once felt like home but now slow your pace. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence and getting honest with yourself about why you've held yourself back for so long. You can't grow without honesty. You can't transform if you keep lying to yourself about what you're capable of, what you deserve, and what you've allowed. You can't evolve if you keep hiding behind weakness, pretending it's humility. And you definitely can't walk into your purpose if you're still busy trying to please people who never wanted to see you rise. At some point, you have to make a decision. Are you protecting your comfort or are you protecting your calling? Because you can't protect both. The moment you start elevating your mindset, everything around you shifts, your energy rises, your standards rise, your expectations rise, you start showing up differently, you stop settling, you stop accepting bare minimum effort from yourself. You stop tolerating people who drain your focus. You stop giving time to things that don't build the future you're trying to create. Your evolution forces a separation. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're becoming better than who you used to be. And not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next season. As you grow, the world starts testing you. Old temptations show up again. Old fears try to sneak back in. Old mindsets whisper, "Are you sure you can do this?" And when that happens, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're getting close. The closer you get to the next level, the louder the resistance becomes. That's when you have to push through with more conviction, more discipline, more self-belief than you ever have. The next level always demands a stronger version of you. You're going to have to let go of the need to be understood. You're going to have to let go of the version of you that was scared to take risks. You're going to have to let go of the belief that you're not ready. You're going to have to let go of the idea that you need permission. Growth is painful, but staying the same will break you faster. Staying the same will suffocate your potential. Staying the same will keep you living a life beneath your calling. And deep down, you know you weren't created to stay stuck. Every time you level up, life will test you to make sure you're committed. You'll be tested in your discipline, your patience, your resilience, your focus. But these tests aren't designed to destroy you. They're designed to prepare you. They're shaping you into someone who can handle the weight of the blessings you've been praying for. They're making sure that when the door opens, you don't just walk through it. You dominate everything on the other side. So if you feel like life is stretching you right now, pulling you, challenging you, pushing you, that's exactly what growth feels like. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's unfamiliar, but it's purposeful. It's heavy, but it's building your strength. You're not being broken. You're being prepared. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding the parts that no longer fit your future. Because growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were always meant to be. And once you evolve into that version of yourself, everything in your life begins to change.